In the last lesson, we have learned that in order to turn naive questions into good ones, we have to formulate our question by making its 4 components explicit. The 4 components are P, E, C, O, PECO. In this lesson, we will learn that the clinical questions are closely linked to the search of the literature. Very typically, we will use P and E and sometimes C to look for evidence in the publications. Sources of information can be divided into secondary sources and primary ones. Secondary sources are databases of pre-appraised articles, that is, articles whose quality and clinical relevance has already been appraised by someone else. The 2 most useful secondary sources are the Cochrane Library and evidence updates. Primary source is a mixed bag of articles of various quality and relevance, such as PubMed. PubMed is a free database maintained by the United States National Library of Medicine and provides titles and abstracts from about 6,000 journals. The number of articles entered into PubMed has been increasing over the years, nearing 1 million in the year 2011. Of these, 4 to 5% represent articles from mental health fields. There is no way you can read them all. We saw that the best evidence for treatment may come from RCTs. The number of RCT papers in PubMed has also been increasing, nearing 25,000 per year for all fields of medicine altogether, and more than about 2,000 per year for mental health. It will be stupid, well, if not impossible, to try to read them all. In fact, only a fraction of them are worthy of your time and effort. EBM is therefore more about how not to read articles rather than about how to read articles. So let's first start looking at the secondary sources, namely the Cochrane Library, with simple keywords. You can also use these limited keywords in evidence updates. This is the URL for the Cochrane Library, and this is the URL for evidence updates. You may wish to stop the video here and try the search yourself. Have you found anything? When neither works, you can resort to PubMed. There are many things you can learn about PubMed, but let me give you 2 important tips that I find most useful. First, use mesh to expand your keywords. Mesh is a keyword with which each article in PubMed is indexed. So, if you can find appropriate mesh, your search will be more comprehensive. Second, you also have to use the so-called methodology filter. There are several ways to do this, but the most efficient is clinical queries here. You can pick the category of the clinical question you have and also choose the scope, either broad or narrow. So this was your clinical question. Patients with bipolar I disorder in remission, combined valproate plus lithium in comparison with valproate alone, which has fewer relapse rates. As I said, the keywords usually comes from P and E and sometimes from C. So you can use valproate and lithium and bipolar. We found Geddes et al. Lithium plus valproate combination therapy versus monotherapy for relapse prevention in bipolar I disorder, published in The Lancet in 2010. The summary PICO of the study are patients with bipolar I disorder in remission, combined lithium plus valproate for 24 months in comparison with lithium monotherapy or valproate monotherapy for 24 months, which will reduce switching treatment due to a new mood episode. Before we conclude this lesson, I would like to prepare you for step 3. Please visit our department homepage here and click the toolbox here, which will take you to this page. And from this page, clicking here, you can have critical appraisal worksheets. You can download this Word file and use this worksheet for the critical appraisal that we will learn about in step 3.